Today, we're diving into a topic many of us want to pretend is not happening, and yet we feel it more and more every day. Ageism. Yes, it's everywhere, and when you factor in gender and race, it can become even more of an issue. But sometimes in regards to ageism, the call is coming from inside the house. That internalized ageism is what we're tackling today. All the ways we count ourselves out as we get older. But don't worry, it's not all doom and gloom. There are ways to avoid, or at least quiet, those loud but false voices in our heads. In this episode, you'll learn some pretty simple but hugely effective steps we can all take to combat the ageism that comes from within. This is the Grown-Ass Woman's Guide. I'm your host, Jackie McDougall. Ageism is defined as prejudice or discrimination on the grounds of a person's age. And it is very, very real, especially in the workplace. According to ZipRecruiter, Americans are working longer. In 2020, 13% of the workforce included those 55 and over. Now it's almost 24%. The good news is, it's reported that job postings that invite retirees to apply more than doubled between 2016 and 2019. But older workers are still having difficulty finding a job, and 53% reported having experienced age discrimination at work. And while job postings don't usually say things like, old people need not apply, the language that is used isn't too hard to decipher, calling for recent graduates or no more than X number of years experience. It seems while 84% of employers surveyed find older workers just as capable, 45% expressed concern that older workers might lack tech skills they deem important. If you're a hiring manager listening to this right now, I call bullshit. The grown-ass women I know are recording podcasts and making videos. They're engaging on social media, and they get excited about new tools that support creativity and productivity. We're total tech nerds. But I digress. In the same survey, 67% of employers said they had no preference when it comes to an older versus younger worker, but 25% said they would, quote, choose a 30-year-old over a 60-year-old if faced with equally qualified candidates, end quote. By the way, I'm currently working on an episode with an amazing guest who will support us in staying relevant and in demand in the workplace. So be sure to hit the favorite or follow button so you get alerted as soon as that is published. When you combine ageism with sexism and racism, the consequences are compounded. According to helpguide.org, older women of color face age, race, and sex discrimination, not only in their personal lives, but in areas like housing and healthcare. Let's talk a little bit about gendered ageism. We see it all over the place. While men are often seen as more experienced and distinguished, gendered ageism can impact a woman's professional growth, her physical health, and her emotional well-being. But the Harvard Business Review pointed out something really interesting. While gendered ageism sits at the intersection of age and gender bias, there actually is no, quote, right age for professional women. Listen to this. Older women are often not seen as valuable or relevant in the way that male counterparts are, and are seen as, quote, outdated, harpy, strident, their voices completely discounted. But younger women, including those who look young, are called pet names, patted on the head, and in the case of non-white women, presumed to be in a more junior position than they actually are. They're told they don't have the experience and they have to fight for credibility. And what about those women in the middle, specifically 40 to 60 years old? In that same HBR article, they cited how some search committees chose not to hire women in their late 40s because of, quote, too much family responsibility and impending menopause. Other committees declined to hire women in their 50s because they have, quote, menopause-related issues and could be challenging to manage. And still, other committees said that, quote, women in their 50s and 60s may not have aged well and do not look vital. Yet the jobs were given to similarly aged men. So what is the impact of age bias and discrimination? Age bias can have a significant effect on mental and physical health, sense of self-worth, social life, and even finances. Travel insurance and health insurance policies get more expensive. We know this. Oh, and as we get older, we're more likely to become a target for scams and fraud. It is no wonder that all of this external ageism seeps into our subconscious and we begin to believe it ourselves. Full disclosure, I remember a time when I was in my 20s, maybe late 20s, and I would tease my boss, who was 44 at the time, about being old. Sure, it was over 2 decades ago, and we definitely behaved quite differently in the workplace back then, especially in the entertainment industry. But we're brainwashed at a young age to value youth, even in ourselves, especially in ourselves. So let's talk about internalized ageism. According to helpguide.org, one study found that older adults who engaged in self-directed ageism and perceived themselves as useless had shorter lifespans than those with positive self-perceptions. Self-directed ageism can also result in poorer health outcomes, including chronic conditions and short-term health issues. Ageism also appears to slow down recovery from physical ailments. And ageism can lead to social isolation and loneliness. And loneliness has such far-reaching consequences that according to a study that I will link to in the show notes, the health impact is comparable to smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day and can be associated with an increased risk of heart disease, depression, and cognitive decline. So what can we do about it? Well, we know at this point of our lives that we cannot change other people's behaviors or perceptions of us, as much as we've probably tried over the years. But we can do the work to be more mindful about the messages we send, especially to ourselves. We can change the way we see ourselves and flip internalized ageism on its head. But how? It is not about conforming to others' expectations or shape-shifting ourselves, trying to fit into someone else's idea of who and what we should be. It's about embracing our unique experiences, leaning into our strengths and interests, and refusing to stop learning, growing, and adapting to the ever-changing world around us. Some people talk about reinvention at this age. I see it more like innovation. We're not starting over. We're taking the foundation we've built and we're improving upon it consistently and often. So let's talk about some ways we can do that. Not all of the following examples will apply to you. There are plenty of things to choose from, so take what works and toss the rest. Are you ready? The top 8 ways to stop aging yourself out. Number 1, be open to change. This is number 1 for a reason. I see women all the time declare they're, quote, too old or uninterested in the world around us as it is today. If you want to stay relevant and frankly interesting, learning how to adapt is key. This could include being open to current technology, music, current events, and pop culture. Now, you don't have to become a Swiftie or keep up with the Kardashians. Oh my God, no. But it is a good idea to not bury your head in the sand, especially if you want to be part of the conversation around the water cooler. Wait, do they even still have water coolers at work? Number 2, learn something new. Keep your mind active by learning new things. Try a new hobby, take a course, or just pick up a book. The key is to stay curious. Curiosity is everything. Number 3, listen to perspectives different from your own. I recently published an episode where we talked about intergenerational friendships and mentorship. Connecting with millennials or even Gen Zers will give you so much insight into how the world works for them. On the flip side, when you embrace your own experience, you could serve as a mentor to others, whether they're younger or older. It goes both ways. Number 4, prioritize yourself. Move and fuel your body. I know, old news, but I'm not talking about the latest diet trend or killing yourself in CrossFit. Take a walk, play pickleball. You know, it's America's fastest growing sport. Just saying. Stretch, dance, have sex, just move. Eat some vegetables, take your vitamins, love yourself and your body. It is the only one you get. Spending even a second being mean to it is just such a waste of time. Explore your vitality. Take time to relax or meditate if you're into it, but find activities that bring you joy. If you haven't found one yet, Today is the perfect day to try something new. And seriously, email me when you find it. I want to know what it is. hello@grownasswoman.guide. Number 5, clean out the clutter. No, I don't mean in your home, although that was last week's episode, by the way, and it was so good. But get rid of the clutter and the noise in your brain, the stuff that holds you back, the self-talk that it's too late or that you're not capable. Believe in yourself and your abilities. You've done incredible things in your life. Talk to yourself the way you would encourage and support a friend. Recognize your worth, and don't you dare use age as an excuse. Number 6, pursue your passions. Follow your interests, even if they change like the weather. Art, travel, entrepreneurship, having passion and enthusiasm for an activity can increase positive feelings, helping you feel more alive and relevant. Try it. Number 7, get involved. Whether it is in your community, with a nonprofit or charity, make an effort to contribute. Volunteer to visit a senior, support a women's shelter, or teach young people a certain skill. There is something out there for all of us. And number 8, be social. As I mentioned earlier, isolation and loneliness can have a devastating impact. Social connections can provide emotional support, keep you connected, and offer opportunities for personal growth. Whether you schedule a weekly walk or coffee with a friend, find in-person events through sites like meetup.com, start a circle through organizations like leanin.org, or join the Grown Ass Woman's Guide Facebook group, or find another group that's filled with others with similar interests. Connection can make all the difference. You and me, we have never been more experienced, knowledgeable, or capable than we are today. This is the perfect time for letting go of others' expectations and assumptions and to birth or rebirth the person we want to become. And if we want to change who that is in 5 years or 6 months or tomorrow, it's absolutely our prerogative to do so. And if you're feeling as fired up as I am, because I am so fired up right now, and you're ready to take charge of the rest of 2023, I want to invite you to join our very first accountability group launching October 16th. Picture this, a small group of grown-ass women coming together to support and uplift each other as we set and work toward achieving our goals. This time of year is when a lot of people hit the snooze button. I'll get to it in January. But if you work toward your goals for even 10 minutes a day for the next 90 days, that is 15 hours closer to living the life you want. If you want to join this small introductory group, visit grownasswoman.guide/accountability group for more info. We all deserve to start 2024 feeling empowered, successful, and ready to take on the world. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you liked this episode, please share it with a friend. A transcript and all of the links mentioned can be found in the show notes at grownasswoman.guide/episode 187. Until next time, remember, you are a grown-ass woman. Act accordingly. The Grown Ass Woman's Guide is produced by Grown Ass Creative, a media and marketing agency powered by creative women over 40. Spring has sprung, and with the change of seasons, sometimes comes an increase in vitality. If you're feeling in the mood for a little more personal time, may I suggest Coconut. Coconut is all about providing clean and natural ingredients when you're enjoying your most intimate moments, with or without a partner. Naturally safe products developed by people who are obsessed with quality. Get 15% off with promo code GROWNASS at grownasswoman.guide/Coconut. That's 15% off with promo code GROWNASS at grownasswoman.guide/Coconut.